So we have Rachel Krill in here, one of my besties. So I'm so excited to talk to you all about Real, why you decided to move over, what it's been like. You are a top producer here in Arizona. You run a coaching program, you run a team, all the things. So I can't wait to dive in with you.
Excited to be here. My first podcast.
First ever.
That's
the
wild.
podcast Cherry. You guys
What's
took
wrong
it.
with everybody that has a podcast? They need to get you on it.
We were just talking about how important content's been for all of our growth.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I did some reels.
Yeah, I posted 2 reels before coming here.
But let's talk about that. You're super successful even without the social piece, which like for my brain, I don't even know how to get business without social. I do, but it looks different.
Yeah.
Can you break down your business a little bit for the viewers so that way they can kind of have some reference?
Well, I think it kind of goes back really far. So, I mean, I've been selling for almost 20 years. And so a lot of people look at that and go, oh, that's why you're successful. But they don't even realize that there's been 2 times I've had like rebirthings, right? Mm-hmm. So I started real estate in Yuma when I was 18 years old. My parents owned a Century 21. It's all I knew. And how many years later? 6 years later, so at 24 years old, I moved to Phoenix knowing 5 people. Started all over again. And then about 5 years after that, about 9 years ago, left a really bad situation and kind of restarted my business all over again. Every lead I had, I no longer talked to, wasn't a part of my life, and I kind of like restarted my life all over again. So I feel like I've started my business kind of 3 times.
Yeah.
And part of it for me is just, I haven't used a lot of social media, but I've just tried to make the people that I'm around very aware that I'm in real estate and I'm the best one for them to call. I try to do a very, very good job for people. You know, I have gotten a lot of crap over the years that I don't do these like things with clients, whatever they call them.
Client events.
Client appreciation events. I don't even know the name of them.
She's literally
right?
like, I would never want to go have drinks with my clients.
Yeah, that's like my worst nightmare. I'm an introvert by nature. I know how to be an extrovert when I need to be. And I've realized over time as I've done my healing journey that I actually like being an extrovert and it makes me a little bit happier. So I push myself out of the box more now. But for me, I've just tried to be very personal with people where, hey, I sold them a house. I did a really good job. I've had clients call me back 10 years later that I don't send mailers to because I did such a good job for them when they bought the house that, of course, they remember me. Anytime I'm in their subdivision, I'm texting them. Hey, I'm showing in your neighborhood. How are you guys liking the house? Like, I try to keep it super authentic with my clients. And I think that shows through. And I'm friends with them on social media. It's just not, I'm not posting the just sold, the just listed, all of those things. I'm starting to get a little bit more into more educational pieces on my social media because that's what I love. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to knowing random facts. Like Kristen can call me and I'll tell her the most random fact about something in the ocean. Like, right? Yeah. Like something weird that I'm going to know because I'm a facts person. So I feel like that's my jam and that's kind of what I'm starting to get into. Well, and I've specialized with VA. And I've really spent the last 10 or 15 years building relationships with some of the largest VA lenders in the country that anytime they have a VA buyer in the Phoenix area, I'm their first call.
I think although you think you're not social media driven, I really do think you do a good job at engaging and knowing what people on your social media are actually into as much as it's more the side of like posting is new. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah. And I think I try to have a good balance of like, hey, I'm still here selling real estate, but I'm not in your face that you want to unfollow me. But also here's my real life that you feel a part of my life in an authentic way.
Yeah.
So do you use like a traditional CRM to keep track of past clients' database?
No.
So how do you remember to text Bob Smith, I'm in your neighborhood, or is it just kind
I'm
of
insane,
a feel?
Temp.
Like the brain, you just got
my brain just, you know, for the longest time I had an Excel spreadsheet. Now I still use an Excel spreadsheet. I have a CRM that honestly I don't use the greatest. If I tapped into it, I'd probably even do more than I do, right? But I just am like, I'm a very visual person. If I see something in writing and there's a face connected to it, I pretty much will remember it forever. So I just am like, people can call me 3-4 years after their house closes. And just yesterday I got a call. Do you remember the house on 123 Shannon Street? And I was like, yes. And in my head, I'm like, I'm the listing agent on that house. Why are you calling me? And it was the buyer wasn't happy with their buyer's agent, loved how I handled selling the house, wants to sell, and called me back. And I remembered the exact house she was talking about. And I was like, I'll be there Thursday. And that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's just, it's like a secret superpower probably that I have that is a cheat sheet that most people don't have.
That's all. So now that you run the team, you have agents with you.
Yeah.
How many agents do you have?
I got 4 agents with me.
Okay.
And I have 5 technically.
Including your TC?
No, including my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Keep my mom around on the back end because she is the best on the phone. If you want the best to close a lead on the phone and get them to meet with you in person,
Nancy's good.
Nancy's the
the
jam.
one.
So
Crushes
I'm
it.
like, you can't retire fully.
I love it. Okay, so you got you plus 5, you plus 4 and mom.
Yeah.
When did you make the move over to Real?
Made the room over to Real. I actually just got my email yesterday for my 1-year anniversary.
I was going to say this week's our 1 year.
1-year anniversary. Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
What? So, our podcast, The Real Shift, is talking a lot about why it made sense for us.
Yeah.
But we really want to share the perspective of active team owners, realtors that are, I make most of my money as an investor.
Yeah.
And although I do sell traditional real estate, not at the level you do, that's your main breadwinner, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to have a lot of trust and faith in where you're going to go hang that business.
Yeah.
What about Real made sense for you a year ago?
Yeah. So for me, Kristen called me and was like, we were at EXP and she goes, so I'm going to say something crazy. And she's like, and you're like the person I can talk to about this. I'm like, okay, what is it? She's like, I had a call about Real. And I was like, what? What are you doing, Kristen? Like, we're fine. I don't want to move. It's expensive. That's running through my head. But Kristen and I are like super good friends. We're like best friends. Like, I trust Kristen. I'd probably follow her to a fault. But I know she's good people. But she was like, no, it's really good for me, but I need to make sure it's good for the agents. And I was like, okay. And she said, I need you to get on a call with Dustin Brom. And I was like, okay.
Wait, hold on. I have to real quick say something.
I thought he was
nervous.
a douchebag.
Well, I thought I was nervous because she can be a little bit snippy
Can be a little judgy.
and judgy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man.
You say what you
is this
feel.
gonna be
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
keep
so
going.
I hopped on this call and I was like, my first thought was, this guy's a douche. And I've told Dustin this, so I'm sure he's fine if I say it.
He's totally
on this
not a
podcast.
douche at all.
He's not. After the call, I called Kristen. I was like, I love this guy. So I did this call with Dustin, kind of breaking down a lot of what Real offered, the back end support, the fees being so much cheaper, and all the things that they were up and coming to, right? And not only did I look at it from my perspective as an agent, I tried to look at it from my team's perspective and from an investor perspective. And so for me as a agent who's still actively selling, I'm like, well, first off, my cap is cheaper, right? My fees that I get back when I elite agent, I get way more back, and I don't actually have to work for them like I did elsewhere.
Yeah, there's no caveats.
There's no caveat of like, you can get it back, but you got to give us X, Y, Z, right? If you want to do X, Y, Z, you can get even more back. And so I was like, at the end of the day, I'm basically at this company for free. And I was like, I like the technology. I'll get to that. So in my mind, I'm like, money-wise, this makes sense for me.
No monthly.
No monthly
For
fees.
you, that's fine. But for a lot of agents,
and
especially for your
that's where-
agents, that's
so
where
that's where I then went to the next step of like, okay, what does this look like for, at the time I had 4 agents on my team. They're paying almost $100 a month in monthly fees. Their cap was $2,000 higher, even when I get half cap being on the team. And it wasn't like they were getting much from the company. It was mostly me as the team lead. And so I looked at that and I ran the numbers. And for me, it was about $3,600 a year they would be saving. And when you break that down, I'm like, $300 a month for someone that is not a top producing or selling life-changing money real estate, that is the groceries for their family. That is a car payment. That is like not little. $300 a month could make or break some people's finances.
especially in this market where transaction count is down.
It's down, right? And so the thankful thing for us is my team, I use the word small but mighty. Like, my whole goal is I don't want a big team. I want a smaller team where they're each closing, 15 to 20 transactions a year, making money that they would have never made before. And our splits are great. And that $3,600 a month in savings, they can go on a vacation with their family.
Yeah.
They can do something like so I was like, that's it. And then I looked at it of, you have this company that is kind of at the time was still kind of new and upcoming. I still think it is. I think they're small enough that I'm like, what they're doing with, fintech and all of those things is not just being a tech company, not just being a real estate company, but also now getting into the finance side. And, Dustin and I talked about that. I'm like, okay, there's something here with this company that if it goes well and we get in early enough, this could be groundbreaking. I mean, I look back at EXP at the time, when we joined was smaller, and then what my stock did, and I'm like, that could have paid off properties that I own and things like that. So I was like, this could be good. I want to get in now while stocks are low, because I am always thinking long term. And so for those three things, when it comes down to the finances of it, I was like, done. And then Dustin showed me the back end, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because most companies that you're at, for lack of a better way to explain it, it's like you have a 2018 MacBook Pro, and then they decided, what, we need this other technology. So the company hands you an iPad that's from 2020. And then they're like, what, we need this other new program. Here's an iPhone 14. And then here's some AirPods, but they're not the pros yet. And here's all the shit you need to actually make your business work. And none of it really works well
And
together.
you have different logins for
You have
all
different
the things.
logins for everything. Like, that's how I would describe it, is like you're piecemealing all your technology with stuff that doesn't really
It's
go
like a
together.
Frankenstein of tech.
Yes, and they're just like slapping it on top of each other. Like, try this. And so I called Kristen, and I was like, Real is one login for everything, and the technology is great. I called her after I got off the call with Dustin. I remember exactly where I was at. I was going to show Aaron a house. I was turning down San Pedro, and I was like, I'm in. When are we leaving? When are we joining?
That was when it was real for me. I'm like, okay.
And she's like, and Kristen's like, oh shit.
Yeah,
like,
got chills. That was sick.
And so for me, it was that, and when I showed it to my TC, she was like, this is amazing, because at most companies, she'd have to do 5 different logins just to do a transaction. She's gone from probably like 2 hours to open a transaction with the brokerage down to like 30 minutes. Like, so even just that time of, even me, like sometimes I'm like, what is the address for our brokerage? I have no idea. At our previous company, I'd be like trying to call someone to find out what the actual physical address of the company is, because we're virtual companies. With Real, I go in and I ask Leo, what's our address? And I'm like, here you go. And I can give it to the sales rep at the new build office. Like,
10 seconds.
Yesterday,
so
I
the
asked
simplicity.
Leo a question.
Leo's
Crystal,
our AI.
AI.
Yes, we have an AI that always you can go to. When people are always like, oh, I have broker support? Yes, you have all of that. But if you ask Leo, 90% of the time, the AI has the answer.
Has the answer.
He
And
knows
yesterday,
it.
I wanted to nominate Crystal Novak for Rookie of the Year.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't. You needed some broker information. I just said, "Hey, Leo, what's our broker information?" And it was like Courtney Yant. Just
Yeah.
it was all right there.
It was
So cool.
It was a quick question.
I
And
didn't
was
have
like,
to go
Wait.
looking for it. I was
Yeah.
like, this is what I need in life.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you start adding all of those things,
Like
and
the ease.
then we went to, Rise in Vegas, and I was just like, meeting Clayton and Ryan Zook and hearing our leadership. I told Kristen when we left there, I'm like, culture and who you work with. We were even talking about it before the podcast. Like, who you associate with, who you work with truly matters in this world, not just for your business, but I think for your personal life.
Yeah.
And so for me, meeting some of those guys and seeing how authentic and down to earth, and going to dinner with them, and just the culture kind of sealed it for me in October. Like, okay, this company is legit. This is where I want to be. This is the culture I want. This is the technology I want. The fees are great. And at the end of the day, I want to work with the people that I want to work with.
So I think a lot of times people think like, oh, all they do at companies that are modeled like that is they recruit. And especially if you listen to this podcast, like me and Templeton are totally into growing networks.
I don't.
You're focused on production.
Yeah.
So what is kind of your take on that?
So I kind of look at it in a sense that right now, my life is selling real estate, running my team, working on consulting, right? I don't want to recruit, not to be mean. It's not my
mean.
jam. It's not my style. It's not, if it comes, it's great. Like, I have some people that come to me, they're like, I want to work with you. Great, you can. I'll have a meeting with them. I'm not out there actively doing it. I also don't have all the time in the world. I try to work 30 hours a week. Like, I only have so much time. And right now, I know where my bread and butter is, and I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I like the recruiting side that like, if I kind of look at it as so many companies, once you get done selling real estate, like I go with my parents, for example, right? My dad sold real estate for 26, 27 years, had a Century 21. And when he was done, what did he really have? If he stopped selling real estate, there was nothing left unless he switched brokerages and was like, I'll go be a branch manager or do a lot of...
You still got to work.
You still got to do something. I mean, right now his work is golfing 3 days a week. But the reality is most agents, when they're like burnt out from selling, they're like, I need something else. And they end up moving brokerages and managing an office or being a broker or whatever it might be. And I'm like, I look at all these different things that Real offers and says, these are great for different seasons of life. And right now I'm not in a season for recruiting.
Yeah.
But maybe in 5 years, if I want to, I can, and I don't have to go restart over. I can stay at the same company and keep building on what I already have. And I can be in that season.
Let me add to that. Something that I think is so cool about the model, and especially where we're at, is real estate teams, when you look at them, they reward mediocrity a lot of times, and here's what I mean. If you suck, you leave. If you get too good, if one of your agents like starts crushing it, well, then they want to go start their own team, they leave. And in this model, that can actually be a graduation. And say, hey, give me a hug. Here's the playbook. Let me help you go grow. So even if you're not super intentional for the season you're in right now, but you naturally have some killers come through your program, your network is going to grow.
So naturally.
Yeah, just through the team.
Yeah.
And there's actually somewhere for them to go where you guys can stay connected.
100%.
Because at other brokerages, the reality is just like, well, when they leave, it's like that really tough, sad day. And when I used to run Templeton Group, I had great agents leave me sometimes, and there was no way to stay connected.
Yeah.
And I think
that's the hard thing in our industry, which is why I do love that, is you're still connected. Because there is a part of you that's a little bit financially connected. So you want them to stay, you want them to grow, right? But I think even as someone who is not into recruiting, correct me if I'm wrong, I would bet less than 10% of the agents at our company probably actively use recruiting as their main source of income.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think it's less than that.
It's probably way less than that, right? So you have to stop and go, okay, they might be kind of loud about it. People might think, oh, all they do is recruit. The reality is the majority of us just want to sell real estate, make an income for our family, and go invest money and do what we want to do.
And do it on the best platform.
And do it on the best platform there is. Like, hands down, I've been Century 21, Keller Williams, a small mom and pop, a medium-sized mom and pop, EXP, and Real. I hate admitting all of that, right?
That's 20 years.
That's 20 years, though, right? The best platform is Real.
Yeah.
Hands down, the easiest, best platform for a real estate agent that's actually selling is Real. It gives you your time back. It gives you simplicity of the deal. And for me, that's major. And not even just for me, for my team. Like, my TC's time matters to me because I want to do more and I need her to be able to do more and not get burnt out, right?
I love that.
And one of the things, when you look at the economics, is I don't want to be a broker.
Never. I have my broker's license. I don't want to use it.
I have to pay a broker something.
Yeah.
Someone's going to go make 15 to 30 grand a year from me. And I'm happy to do that. Now the question is, what am I getting back?
Yes.
Right? And if you hit elite, which you do, well, now you get it all back. And I like positive asymmetrical risk. And what I mean by that is they're giving it back to you in stock. And I've heard other people say, well, what if the stock goes to zero? Well, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to pay someone that money.
Yes.
So I at least have my name. I threw my hat in the ring for the potential of what this can become.
Yeah.
But I was going to pay someone something.
Yeah.
So what am I getting back for it? When you look at that, I'm just like,
I always tell agents, no brokerage is in the business to make no money.
Yeah.
Like, they're taking
Like,
all
come
the
on.
risk. They have attorneys on staff. Like, they're the ones doing all of this. Any brokerage who's like, we're basically flat fee and you're going to make no money. I mean, I ran the numbers when I was at my small, medium-sized mom and pop. Even though I was a flat fee per transaction, the amount of transaction I was closing, plus the amount of E&O insurance, don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Brokerages, if you're out there and you're selling 60 to 100 homes a year and your brokerage does not cap your E&O insurance, I was paying almost $4,000 a year in E&O insurance.
Yeah.
When you're capped at $500 a year in E&O insurance, that right there for a top producing agent is $3,500 a year in fees. Nobody thinks about E&O insurance. I thought about that when I ran the numbers.
Starts to add up.
Right? You start adding all that up. I think I was paying my medium-sized brokerage almost $14,000 to $16,000 a year between my fees and E&O insurance that I never get back.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I pay the same amount, like I said, to say, hopefully the stock goes up. And if it doesn't or it goes to zero, I at least gave it a shot.
And what I've done, Rachel, is I take that stock money when it vests, and maybe it's short-sighted, but like I'm going to keep accruing it every year. And I take that and I go buy real assets with it. Not that our stock isn't a real asset, but I extract it and I buy rental properties.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, cool, this is very real money that is sitting there that I just bought my old downtown Chandler house back, right?
Yeah.
I used that. Cool. I used my real stock to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, I have this cash sitting. And sure, maybe I do believe that our stock's going to run and it's going to have great growth.
I do too.
So I don't want to sell it all. But as I keep accumulating it, I'm going to extract it and put it into hard assets that I understand.
Yeah.
So for me, like I look at that and I'm like, that can now.
It's already turned into real
it
money.
can't go to zero. It's a real it's a real
Yes.
house with 4 walls and a pool and a basketball court that I own again.
Yeah.
And the prettiest hedges in the whole world.
Yeah.
I love that house.
So yeah, you turned it into real money. You didn't let it sit there until it got to nothing, right?
Why don't you, just for anyone listening that's like, what are you guys talking about with the stock? Like, why don't you maybe explain from your perspective being an elite agent at Real? What is that and what happens with the stock?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, stock was a big deal for me when I was at EXP and now Real, because I am if anyone knows me, I'm an Enneagram 6. If you follow Enneagrams out there, everything in my life, every decision is based on security. All I want to do is feel secure in life. I want to retire at 50. So everything I do based on properties, stock, cash assumption, all of that is like, how can I be done at 50? I want to go enjoy my life. I enjoy my life now, but I want to like truly be done, right? And so for me, I looked at this and went, okay, this is another avenue to create another form of wealth. And so if you are a top producing agent at Real, you cap, right? You pay in your $12,000. And then once you close,
it's $225 post cap fees up to $6,000.
Yeah, $6,000. Yeah, so it's like 22 properties ish. I think
depending on your price point, but you're going to pay you're going to pay your $12,000 cap, which you'll get a 250 share reward at that time.
Yes.
Which right now that's worth about $1,000.
Yeah.
Then you do another, let's call it 15 deals. I don't know, whatever.
15 to 20 deals.
Okay, so now you pay $6,000 more. You're 18 in. So take it from
18
there.
in, then you're getting back your 16,000 in stock.
Plus the 250 reward that you got
when you capped, right?
So you're essentially getting $17,000.
$17,000 in stock back to you. That after it vests 3 years, that's yours, right? You could also choose to go teach other agents through their school program. You could do community services. You can do things in the community.
You'll make another $8,000.
You'll make another $8,000. So like you could potentially make almost $25,000 a year back in stock.
That's so cool.
And you can take post cap or pre cap. I think you can take 10% of your commission,
and then 5%.
And you buy it at a 15% discount.
Yep.
And then post cap, you could take 5% of your commission.
And I do that on every commission until you cap out.
So now you're buying the stock at a discount, which isn't a guaranteed return, but like that vests pretty quickly on your stock purchase, and it's like you're buying, you're creating an arbitrage.
Yes. And so for me, I looked at that and said, okay, I've got this bucket, this bucket, this bucket. Like you said, you've got to pay a brokerage no matter what.
Yeah.
Got to pay someone.
So why wouldn't I try to create another bucket for my life out of the brokerage that I picked?
Exactly.
Right. And so that's where I looked at that and was like, this is a win-win because it's creating a bucket without having to do the work for a bucket, right? You're not starting another business. You're not buying an income property. You're not doing
what you were already going to do.
It's just already doing what I was going to do, and it created this bucket for me, which is what I loved.
I have people ask me, they go, oh, so that has like an MLM? I'm like, yeah, it has an MLM function, but you're not asking anyone to go sell milkshakes.
No.
You're asking realtors to be
do
realtors.
what they're already going to do.
And that's once I like really got my heart and mind around that, I was like,
well, I always tell people, I'm like, at any other brokerage, the way that they end up growing is through other agents referring them. The difference is at those brokerages, you're getting like a $25 gift card to the movies or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, remember at our old mom
Yeah.
and pop, I think I brought 4 or 5 agents with me when I left the other mom and pop brokerage, and nothing.
Yeah, you might have got a $25 gift card.
Yeah, to the cafe in the,
Oh, yeah.
restaurant or in the office, right?
Yeah, totally.
And so I look at that and I was like, okay, that's great. Like, those people wanted to follow me there. They liked what was happening over there. But now if you do that at Real, people are like, I want to go where you're going. I trust that. This sounds great. You get a little bit more rewarded for it.
Well, and I think like for you, somebody who's not like actively recruiting, what's really cool to watch happen with agents like you is like a lot of top producers just want access and want to be in proximity to you, and they don't want to be on your team because that's not where they're at. That's not the season. So it allows you to say like, yeah, you can come work with me. And that's, you know, and that's happened often with you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's quite a few people that are like, I just want to be able to like call you and pick your brain when I need questions or help through stuff. Can I come work with you at Real? Sure.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I think it's important that people want to be connected to us, right?
Yeah.
Like I get so many people in my Instagram and my DM that are like, hey, Temp, I want you to help me. And human nature in business doesn't require, but if you have a financial incentive,
yeah.
it's going to be a lot easier for me to prioritize that phone call or that text,
Absolutely.
right? And it's not even money that you have to pay me. You don't have to pay Realtor Doctors 10 grand. You don't have to, if you're over at Real and you have this deal that you need me to look at, and I know I sponsored you, one, I'm going to try to help everybody I can, but I just literally can't.
It's only so much time.
But the 40 something people I've personally sponsored, do you think they have a little bit of a priority? Because I know intrinsically I have a financial incentive to help them win, and I have an obligation and a duty and you want me to have that.
Yeah.
Because I know how to go get deals done and help you make more
Well,
money.
and that's how I've kind of even run my team is, you know, people think I'm crazy because I don't pay salaries.
Yeah.
Everything is based on production. The same way it is if you're doing rev share, the same way it is if you're at Real
If
selling.
we make money, you make
If I
money.
make
Yes.
money, you make money.
Yeah.
If you want to help give me leverage and let me go get the more deals, the bigger deals, you're going to make more money too.
Yeah.
Like, you get a percentage of it. Like, and I think, like you said, when people have that financial interest, they're willing to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that because I know if I help with this one, it's going to give you time to go get another one. I'm going to get on that. And you know what I mean? So giving that financial interest, I think, definitely opens the doors for you to be like, yeah, I'll give you my time. I'll pick up your phone call.
I agree. So you've been at Real for a year now. What's something like looking back over the last year that has happened that kind of surprised you that you didn't see coming?
I don't feel like anything,
No?
honestly. And call me crazy. I sometimes think like the dull and the mundane is actually good. Like, you don't want the highs and you don't want the lows. I love that it's just been like a smooth ride.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been bumpy. It hasn't been high. It hasn't been low. It's just a consistent, smooth ride with a lot of reminders of why we made the right decision.
I was at the coffee shop yesterday and I ran into my friend Alan and he was like, how's it been? Like, how long have you been at Real now? And I told him, I was like, it's been a year. And he's like, how's it been? And I said, honestly, the word to say is easy.
Yeah.
Like, it's been easy.
Smooth,
And I feel like
easy,
I haven't been able to say that in the decade I've been in real estate.
Yeah.
Like, that feels
We
good.
have enough highs and lows in our transactions
Yeah.
that like you want your footing and your foundation to not have these emotional ups and downs and
Yeah.
big pivots and turns. Like
I'm not worried about the culture. I'm not worried about what's coming out in the news articles. I'm not worried about the image that I'm connected to. It's just like I said, it's like there's been no surprises, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, I don't want I like my life to be smooth, so I want my brokerage and my business to be smooth too. So like you said, easy and smooth, I think is the best way to describe it.
I love that.
Love it. Well, I think we're getting close to the end here.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts I mean, you're not going on podcasts all the time. We are honored that we are the podcast, the first for you. Where do people find you? How can they connect with you?
You can find me on social media.
She's doing reels now.
Reels now.
Give her some support.
So yeah, I'm on Instagram.
She's an influencer.
Rachel Krill. I mean, nothing crazy. I'm also on Facebook too. Either one. My website is my name. Easy to find me. But
Specialize with VA you specialize with anyone looking to buy or sell.
anyone
or
looking to
invest.
buy or sell. Yeah, and really trying to help, outside of real estate, helping agents that are already producing figure out ways to leverage and build and scale themselves from like a lot of them are single agents that want to like move to a team style or team product or just we have one agent that's like doesn't even have a TC right now that I'm like, okay, let me help you. I've been there before. I was closing 60 with no TC. Let me help you,
You're welcome.
So yeah, thank you. So like consulting and helping there, like if you're an agent that is
Just putting the appropriate pieces of leverage.
Yeah, like
where you
really,
can work 30 hours a week and still sell a ton of real estate.
Yeah, working 30 hours a week is been my goal. Some weeks are heavier than other weeks, but really helping agents go, you can close 50, 60 homes a year, run a small team, and work 30 hours a week. It's possible. I can show you how it's possible.
I love it.
We just literally had one of my friends text me this week. She sells 100 homes a year and was like, hey, do you think Rachel would coach me so that I can still do this production but not work so much? I'm like, yeah, she absolutely can.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm leaning into right now outside of real estate. So, yeah.
Cool.
Love it. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
coming
being
on.
here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.